How's it going? It's not morning here. Not one bit. It's actually afternoon, and yet I'm still really tired. I think my first week of work has really gotten to me. Gotta get up at 5 a.m. Well, no, sorry. I have to be at work at 5 a.m. I get up at 3:30, get ready, and then we go. And then we get there. We have to get there before 5 a.m. Gotta be in our seats by 5 a.m. And then I sit and learn about how I'm supposed to do my job. Yeah. It's okay. I'm doing pretty good at it. I actually like mornings. Not a lot of people do, but I think there's something in the air in the mornings, like like a new beginning every day. I don't know how to explain it. I just like the way mornings look and feel and stuff like that. It's not always easy to get up in the mornings, especially when your body can't go to sleep at night, but that's for another discussion, right? So today's topic, I think been a little hesitant on how to talk about this one. What to say, what part of it to actually discuss first. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do what I do with everything and maybe explain just to begin with. We'll figure it out. Today's topic is mental illness. It's a pretty big topic, right? Yeah, because if you look at the world today, there's quite a bit out there, isn't there? In fact, I mean, my true belief is that there's no one out there without some sort of mental illness, some mental something, right? I mean, we all have some form of it. Depression, OCD, anxiety, PTSD. Those are all the simple things that just about everyone has in some form or capacity. But, there's bigger ones out there. Did you? That a lot of the times are looked down upon in our society because of, well, what they cause. And, well, let's take a look at that. How about that? We'll discuss different things. So, everybody knows the well-known, it's probably one of the most well-known of the bigger ones, bipolar disorder. Okay? Bipolar, there's different forms of it. There's bipolar 1, bipolar 2, right? Maybe you don't know that, but there is. The different forms are about how people, how they actually, how their disorder works. How's that? That's how we're going to put it. We're going to put it like that. How their disorder works. One of them is they tend to be in the lows more often than the highs. And it kind of is more of a fluctuation of very low to semi-high. And the other one is more of like a very, very fluctuation. Yeah. It's difficult to describe because sometimes it's hard to actually really determine where they are at because they fluctuate so much. And that's the one where, like, the very super highs and the very super lows and things like that, right? Now, with that one, I believe that's the one where they can actually have delusions. And a lot of times people actually really scared of people who have delusions. I mean, it's hard to understand them, right? You have no idea what they're dealing with, and you don't know the feelings and constant, um, well, delusions, I guess. And sometimes delusions can cause people to do things that they probably wouldn't normally or shouldn't do. Um, Bipolar disorder is considered to be sometimes a very violent disorder because of different things that happen to people um, when they're in it. You know, they may not go around punching people, but maybe they'll punch the walls or cut themselves. A lot of bipolar people tend to be cutters. It's a release of endorphins. Everybody should know that, at least a little bit. What it does is it causes a high. And for people with bipolar disorder, what they need is a constant high. That is one of the reasons why they fluctuate so much. They are constantly wanting a high or a super low. You know, they want that extreme. And a lot of times in the super highs, they do a lot of really crazy things like getting in a car and driving 100 miles per hour. It's scary stuff, okay? And I won't deny that. But here's the thing, is that do you know how they feel? Probably not. And just because you think that it's crazy or scary or whatever, doesn't mean that you don't, doesn't mean you have room to judge, okay? Let's just say that, because I know that mental illness is something that is highly judged in our society, in the world today. You know, they're very, very much so looked down upon. People assume immediately after they hear that you have a disorder that you're going to go violent and crazy on them, right? At least one of those ones, that you're going to do something that might cause them harm, or, you know, just things, automatically judgment, right? And when they're not medicated, it's even scarier, right? It can be. You know, but it's not necessarily true. See, a lot of the times when you come to a disorder like that, what they really need is someone to try and understand. And a lot of times, no one's ever understood them. No one's ever wanted to understand them, and therefore they'll believe that you're going to be the same, that you're going to do the same to them. And they push you away. And they do things that they feel everyone else thought of them, and so they end up doing it just to make it true because everybody else already thought it was true. Mental illness is not really an illness, actually. Yes, it is a, well, like with bipolar, it's passed down. It's a gene. It's something that is passed down. And people have it. Not by choice. So does that mean they're ill? I'd like to think not. Schizophrenia is passed down from gene to gene. Not everyone gets it. Not everyone in the family will have it. But it is a specific gene that sometimes is passed down to another member of the family. And sometimes it skips generations, but it's still there. Now, with that, I'd like to say that the thing that I have found with a lot of disorders is that the reason they are the way that they are, for the most part, they've got too much going on up here. And it's not bad. It's not bad. They're brilliant. And that's the thing. They're brilliant. And so their brain races so fast and different things come up and they don't know what to act on or what to feel or how to feel. And things just happen. And it's a hard world to live in. Now, I talked about bipolar, but there's another real common disorder. I mean, it's passed on. I talked about it kind of similar, or small amount. Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is it's a gene. It's passed down from generation to generation. Maybe not every generation, but it's in the genes. And this one is probably feared the most out of any disorder because no one really understands, not completely at least. To be able to see things, hear things, feel things, feel like you're in a totally different world, different reality altogether than what you're currently in. People are watching you. You can't trust anyone. You're paranoid, and there is quite a few forms of schizophrenia. There's schizoaffective, okay, and that's a very common one. It's not as scary sounding. That's it's less of the issue for the most part. It is not as extreme as schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, there's that one, and that one has different forms of delusions, and it's less of a scary factor than paranoia, schizophrenia. Paranoid, schizophrenic, that disorder is probably feared the most because they're scared of everyone, and therefore when everyone is scared, right? When someone is scared, you never know what they can do, right? And it's true, if they fear you, could they act on it? And it is questionable, right? It is. I mean, what can you say to that? You can't really say much to it. But maybe they just need to believe that they do have someone to trust. Schizophrenia itself has trust issues. But a paranoid schizophrenic, they have the hardest time trusting anyone. Anyone in the world. Even their own family members sometimes. And it's a hard world to live in when you feel like you can't trust anyone, right? It's a hard place to be in. It's a scary place to be in. It's really scary. And, we judge them. Well, people judge them. A lot of times, it's hard to admit that you have that to people, and so people hide it. And they hide it for years from people that they've been so close to. Because admitting it means that, well, maybe this person is going to stop trusting me. Or maybe they're going to see the dark inside that we have, and that person has, They're going to run away and never return. Right? Lion King. I know. Anyways, I stand a lot for mental illness because, well, I have one. I'm not going to admit to anyone what it is, and I'm not going to say anything about it. But that's because of what I just said. And maybe someday I'll give it up when it's time and ready. But for the most part, I think that as a society, you see someone on the streets talking to themselves for no reason, you're gonna judge, right? You see someone slamming their fist into the table because they're so upset or whatever. You know, I mean, obviously it's anger, but you never know, right? My belief, though, my belief is that it's not an illness. Bipolar disorder is just something that feeds on people's emotions, not just their own, but people's emotions around them. Of course, this is my my spiritual take, right? Whew. And I truly believe that there's more to it than what we believe. Yes, there's traumas that go into it. There's the gene. There's this. There's that. There's anxiety. There's all kinds of things that go into it, other than what specifically we have already known. You know, like, let's give them a pill and make it go away. Just to let you know, it doesn't always make it go away. It just calms it enough for them to live normal. Normal. What is that? What is normal? It's a good question, right? But, you know, I truly don't believe that we're ill. I think someone who's schizophrenic, maybe they enter into other realms. And maybe their own brain is messing with the spiritual aspect in itself. Spirits could be messing with them. They could be seeing spirits. They could be hearing people around them. They could just not understand it completely. That is my take, of course, because everybody is allowed their opinion. But I just don't think that it should be something looked down upon. Most of mentally ill people, a lot of them at least, they end up homeless on the streets. Why? Because no one wanted to understand them, and no one could, and they couldn't take care of themselves. It's hard. It's not easy to have that. It's not easy to have to live every day with that. But maybe they just need hope. Maybe everyone just needs a reason to live. A reason to believe that they're not ill. And that there's more to it than what meets the eye. And believe me, we're human, so not everything's perfect. And no, you can't read minds all the time, or you can't see ghosts or hear ghosts 24/7. That is not always what's happening, because your brain can mess with you. And it's true, it can. It's not 100%. But once you get to know who you are and how you mess with yourself, maybe you can do the rest. Just maybe. And, well, maybe you could do a lot of amazing things. And there's the hope that there's something on the other side. Something on the other side of it all, right? I'd like to think that God didn't go around saying, oh, let me make this one ill. Ooh, and the rest of its family. Ooh, and let me make this one have to deal with this, and that one have to deal with that, and oh, look, let's cause this, and that. I'd like to think that God's not going around doing that. I feel like there's a bigger purpose, a bigger reason. And I feel like Maybe it's going to be a long process to determining what it is. But I don't think God wanted us to be ill, or determined ill, or silenced by a pill, or whatever. I don't think it's true. And by the way, you got depression? Let me give you a cure for this, okay? Roses, rose tea. They're really good for depression, okay? And not just that, but anything that raises the serotonin, the natural happy in the brain, okay? Natural happy drug in the brain. Raise that serotonin and you'll be fine, okay? Anxiety, there's the same thing. Rose tea and rose petal tea and rose water. Roses just even in the house, okay? It's a natural, you can have the garden outside be roses. Roses is really good for depression and anxiety. It's just one of those things that even just being around heightens your happiness. Anxiety, chamomile tea. If you raise the serotonin, that also can help. For the most part, there's a lot of things that can help that, okay? PTSD, you know, maybe you got some things that you need to talk about. Maybe you got some things that you just need to go over and work it out, you know? Hypnotherapy, it's really a great natural way to maybe get rid of that PTSD. I mean, obviously, you're never going to get rid of what happened, okay? It happened. Believe me, I wish it didn't happen to any of us. To you and to everyone. PTSD is horrible to have. It's horrible to live with. And it sucks that you have to have it. So just remember that it happened. You can't get rid of it. But you can work through it. You can work through it. Come to something. And maybe be able to live with the fact that what happened to you can help millions of others. Whatever, you know? Whatever you need to do to live with that. And OCD, well, just know that the reason people get OCD is because they have a lack of control in some area in their life. It causes an anxiety, and therefore they try to do something else to gain back that control. And that one's going to be a hard one to figure out, right, for the most part? If you don't know the person or whatever, how are you going to determine what their lack of control is? If it's you, yourself, why don't you look at areas in your life where you're feeling out of control? And that's my lesson for today on mental illness. I can't speak. And I'm in PJs. So it's beautiful. Spending a nice day before I have to go back to work, lounging, and I'm about to do homework, even though my computer's been on me. Hopefully I can get my homework done. Anyways, have a wonderful day, you guys, and stay beautiful. Because you are. And always remember,